Hello and welcome to Cuckoo Styling. My name is Micah and today I will be talking about dark autumn examples. You might be a bit confused if you haven't seen my latest videos on colors, so I will insert a card somewhere in this video linking it to my color playlist. If you're interested in learning more about color and styling, make sure you subscribe and that you turn on your notification bell. And if you want to skip all of this process, you can hire me to be your personal stylist at cocostyling.com. One of my services being making custom color charts for my clients. And if you already know your season, you can also get my downloadable color palettes. My first example is Gabrielle Union. She has a brown skin tone and her overall undertone is warm. She also has black eyes and dark brown hair. And sometimes she also has black hair. Now, let's take a look at her color characteristics. Hue or temperature. For the temperature of her colors, she looks great in warmer hues. They also lean more towards rich warm than bright warm. Value. Her colors are dark, and her eyes and hair give her a high contrast level. You can see that she doesn't get overwhelmed by black because it matches her features. Chroma. Like most dark autumns, she has a medium saturation level. That means that her colors shouldn't be too bright nor too muted. Something in between is ideal. Now, let's look at her outfits. First, as always, we have red. Like most warm seasons, she looks very good in red. Her reds can be darker or something in the middle. And their saturation level should be medium. They can be slightly bright, but not too much. Orange. She looks good in both red oranges and yellow oranges. The only thing would be that since she has a high contrast level, something like this bronze dress doesn't give her enough contrast by its own. If you have similar features to Gabrielle, try to accessorize in order to make your outfit's contrast level match your own contrast level. Yellow. Since she is a dark season, bright yellows can be a little bit too much. If they're bright, it's better when they're a little bit richer. She looks a lot better in the rich yellow than the other two options. In the next slide, you can see that the richer yellows that are more on the mustard side look amazing. If you want to wear brighter yellows, would be to go for yellows that are a little bit more on the yellow with orange side than the yellows that are a little bit more on the green side. Green. In here, you can definitely see how her saturation level works with colors. Muted greens, like the first one, are not always ideal, depending on the person, but also, bright neon greens can be a little bit too much. So for her, something in the middle is ideal. Not too muted and not too bright. Blue. Most dark autumns don't look very good in blue, because it can be too cool. But in here, you can see when it has a medium brightness level and it's also dark, like in the last picture, it looks great on her. If you're a dark autumn and you really like blue, you should look into navies. Purple. With the first two dual-toned purples, she looks amazing. So much that I think this is one of her best colors. And if you see her, these two purples that are more on the red side look much better than the blue purple. Pink. For pinks, something that is a little bit more on the rose, peach or salmon side are much better than hot pinks and icy pinks. Neutrals. Because of her contrast level and her dark features, black doesn't overwhelm her. Cream also looks very good on her. But since she also has a warm undertone, white might be a little bit too cool for her. Gold and brown. Brown looks very good on her. However, if you're a dark autumn, sometimes brown isn't the best idea unless it's darker or lighter than your skin, because you need contrast. You can also pair it with other dark colors, so you can get the right contrast level for your features. Silver and gray. Like many warm seasons, Grey isn't always the best. It can clash too much with the warmth of their skin and make them look too yellow. We have Jasmine Tookes. Let's take a look at her characteristics. She has a brown skin tone and her overall undertone is neutral warm. She also has black eyes and black hair. Now let's look at her color characteristics. For her temperature, she is neutral warm. This means that she looks great in warm and neutral warm colors, even some slightly cool colors. But overly cool colors and overly warm colors aren't ideal. And for hues that are very warm, they should be darker and not brighter so they can match the intensity of her features. Value. Her colors are dark. Just like many dark atoms, black and dark colors complement her, and they don't overpower her at all. Chroma. She has a medium saturation level, not too bright and not too muted. Now let's take a look at her outfits. As always, let's start with red. She looks great in a lot of different reds. When you wear a color that isn't the best for you, it should be further away from your face. So, for example, if you really like lilac, but it isn't your color, you can try to wear it on your bottoms. If it's too close to your face, it can clash too much. Here you can see that she looks good in these three reds, but when she puts a bright red lipstick that is also very warm, it doesn't look that great. And it's not that it looks bad, but the first thing that you see is the lipstick, not her face. And that's what color analysis is about. Getting your best colors so you can highlight your features. And that way you will be the highlight, not your outfit. If you have similar features to Jasmine, go for a slightly dark lipstick, or a color that isn't too bright. Orange. This is a tricky color for people who are neutral warm, because orange isn't very forgiving, and it's also very warm. So for her oranges shouldn't be too bright. They should lean more towards the burnt orange, bronze, or terracotta side. All the shades should be slightly dark to dark, so it can match her features. Basically, with color analysis, you have two main features: your undertone and your type. If a color doesn't match one of your features, then you should enforce the other one. For example, she is neutral warm, and very warm colors can overwhelm her. So what you can do is going for the dark version of that color. Yellow. Something that is very interesting is that in clothes, especially for dark-skinned people, yellow tends to be a lot more forgiving than orange. So even if it's a very warm color, she can pull it off as long as it isn't overly bright. Mustard and honey yellows. Mustard yellows and honey yellows are ideal because they lean towards the rich side and not the bright side. Green. She looks good in a lot of greens. Warmer but richer greens like citron, but also true greens and slightly muted greens like olive. Even if she has a medium contrast level, she can wear some muted colors because she has a neutral warm undertone. However, those colors should lean towards the neutral warm or warm side. You can definitely see this applied to blue. Even if she is neutral warm, blue can be too cool for her. If you remember my last video, dark atoms are dark and warm, and the opposite of that would be light and cool. So some light shades of blue could make you look yellow. That doesn't necessarily mean that you will look bad if you wear light blues, but you have to make sure it is the right shade of blue. Jasmine has a neutral warm undertone, and that allows her to get away with wearing some cool hues. Like in here, the dusty blue clashes too much. That is because she has a medium saturation level. So like I said before, in order for that to work, it should be a neutral warm or warm color. And this is a cool blue mixed with grey. And if you see the light blue dress, even if it makes her look a little bit yellow, it doesn't look bad. So you can see that there are definitely some exceptions to the rules. Dark blues are a lot more forgiving, especially if they lean towards the navy or teal side. Purple. Deep purples look great on her. berry colors and dark magentas look amazing on dark autumns. Since she is neutral warm, slightly lighter purples can work as well, but they shouldn't be extremely light. Neutrals. Black works well, since it matches her features, but it does look better when she also has dark hair. Creams and other warm whites look amazing on her. If you're a warm season and you only have white tops, you can also warm up your look with beige, camel, or brown items. Gold and brown. Brown looks very good, and gold can be a little bit tricky because she is neutral warm. Darker golds and softer golds are a lot better than yellow gold. Silver and gray. Like other warm types, most grays can make her look too yellow. Warmer grays, like greige, are a lot better. Now let's talk about Ryan Destiny. And let's look at her characteristics. She has a dark brown skin tone, and her overall undertone is warm. She also has black eyes and black hair. Now, what about her colors? For her temperature, she has a warm undertone, and she looks great in warm colors. Value. She can wear very dark colors, and they look great on her. Chroma or saturation. Her saturation level is slightly bright. She actually looks very good in some bright colors. Let's take a look at her outfits. First, red. Darker and jewel tones of red look amazing on her. If you're a dark autumn, you don't necessarily have to go for a very dark red like wine red. Ruby reds are a great option if you want something a little bit more vibrant, but still within your range of colors. Since Ryan has a slightly bright saturation level, she can also wear brighter reds. Orange. Orange also looks good. However, deeper oranges look better, and if they're brighter, they should be red oranges instead of yellow oranges. Yellow. She looks great in yellow, both darker yellows and slightly bright yellows. Green. True greens, dark green, teal, and slightly bright greens look amazing. If you have noticed the color trend with dark autumns, jewel tones are ideal for them. Blue. Even if Ryan is warm, she looks good in blue, especially if it's slightly darker and if she pairs it with other colors. This is where you can see that there are some exceptions to the rules, and why draping your colors is a must. Pink. Darker and richer pinks look great. Rose and warmer pinks, meaning pinks that are mixed with orange, look amazing as well. Neutrals. Like the other dark types, black doesn't overwhelm her because she has darker features. And I would say this is one of the main differences between pure or high contrast dark autumns and soft dark autumns. A dark autumn that doesn't have black hair and black eyes might get overpowered by black. When you're choosing your colors, a good way to start is by keeping in mind that you should try to imitate your features. Because she is slightly bright, white can work as well, but creams and warm white are a much better option when you have a warm undertone. Gold and brown. Brown and gold look very good because she is warm. With brown, going darker or lighter than her skin tone will give her the contrast that she needs to match her features. Silver and gray. They can be too cool for her. Just like most of the other dark types, she can look a little bit off. And last, but definitely not least, we have Angela Bassett. She has a brown skin tone and her overall undertone is neutral warm. She also has black eyes and dark brown hair. Temperature. She looks great in neutral warm colors. Going too warm or going too cool will overpower her coloring, and they can gray her out. Value. Like the other dark autumns, she looks great in darker colors. What I really like about placing these two pictures together is that you can see that in the first picture, her black dress matches her features. But in the second one, since she has brown hair, she loses a lot of her contrast. Chroma. She has a medium saturation level. Going for colors that are too bright or colors that are too muted could gray her out. Red. Angela is neutral warm and her saturation level is medium. Red looks very good on her, but it shouldn't be a bright red because it can gray her out, but muted red is also not ideal. Jewel tone reds and wine reds are definitely the way to go. But if it's brighter, like I said before, a good tip would be to wear it on your bottoms. Orange. Orange can be a little bit too warm for her. They should definitely be dark so they don't gray her out. Yellow. Just like orange, yellow can be too warm and it can clash with her skin, especially if the yellow is very bright. And yellows that are too muted or pale yellows can also gray her out. Something that leans more to the citron side, even if it looks a little bit more green, and mustard yellows are ideal. Green. Darker greens look very good. True greens are also a safe option. Going for something that is more on the lime side can be tricky, because you should be careful with it being too bright. And something that is more muted, like an olive green, could also be too muted for her. Blue. Since Angela is neutral warm and borderline true neutral, she looks good in blue. But it should be a darker blue. Going for a darker blue that is more on the teal side is also a good option. For purples, something that is darker, like berry colors, and dark magentas that are not too bright. Pink. For pink, they should be slightly warmer, meaning that they should have a little bit of orange in them. Something like punch, flamingo, and watermelon. The darker shades of these colors also look amazing. Neutrals. White can look too cool for her and make her look too yellow. It doesn't necessarily mean that it looks bad, but if you compare those cool whites to warmer whites, you can definitely see the difference. Creams and warm whites blend perfectly with her skin. Gold and brown both look very good. If you have a similar coloring to Angela, you should be careful with gold. It should be a dark gold or even a softer gold, but overly warm yellow golds can be too warm for her. Silver and grey. They can be tricky for warm seasons. It has to be the right shade of grey and the right shade of silver. Something that is slightly warmer, like a greige, meaning grey mixed with brown or beige. This was everything for today, and I hope you enjoyed the video and that it helped you see how color interacts with different features on different people, even if they share a season. And if you liked this video, you can like, subscribe, and share it if you found it interesting. I will see you in a few days to talk about dark winters. So if that's your season, make sure that you turn on your notification bell. And again, you can visit my blog, micalumsden.com, for more information. And if you want me to make you a custom color chart, you can go to cocostyling.com and book me as your personal stylist. Have a nice day, and I do hope to see you soon.